Howdy there, patriots and obedient vassals. We got off to a pretty slow start this week, boy. Lots of technical snafus over here. We're still working out. But
it's fun time.
The show goes on as always. Sure glad to have everyone on board. Well, we're going to get this right yet, boy, I'll tell you. It's going to take some time, but we're gonna stay at it, and things are going to get better and better as we go. So I'm really looking forward to the future here. It's going to be a bright year.
Yes.
Who we got in the room? Jen Coffey from up New Hampshire.
No kidding.
Yeah, one of our sisters from up north.
Wow.
Was a state rep up there, done some great things. Good to see you in the room.
Hey.
My cousin Cheryl. Good to see
Hey,
you.
Cheryl.
Isaiah. Jamie Allen, hope you're doing better, sister.
Oh, yeah, amen.
James, good
Nice
to see you. Yeah, I'll give it a little time, let some folks pop in the room. Hope you all had a real Merry Christmas out there. We had my son and his fiance came over.
For Christmas Eve.
Yep, for Christmas Eve. We had dinner here. It's always great seeing them, and one of these years they're going to show up with some grandcubs.
I had a meltdown cooking, though.
Oh, that's all right. But you know what? On holidays like that, boy, you roll with the punches. You
Hey.
and you know, when things get slowed up, the way I look at it, it's more time you get to spend with the family, especially those young kids. Like my son there, they're like a ricocheting bullet. It's hard to nail them down sometimes.
Kind of, sort of, man. He's a live wire.
Yeah, he's a go-getter. I'm very proud of both of my sons. So yeah, that's what we did Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day we went up and we had dinner with your siblings and all the young cubs there.
That's right.
Your younger brother gave me a tour of the tool shop there.
Right, Bellevue Stamp and Die
Yeah,
Company, Granby, Massachusetts.
It was a real pleasure because I come from a family of machinists. My father, grandfather, my uncles, and everybody. So it was really cool getting hang around.
It's a nice shop, huh?
Yeah. He's got a real cool little man cave going down there. And,
He does.
And your other brother is also a musician. We got talk some politics.
Well, they're both musicians.
Yeah. One's a drummer, and your other brother plays guitar, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And then the bass player there too. That's always cool. I didn't have a lot of musical talent in my family. My mother kind of tinkered a little bit, but
Yeah, you told me.
yeah, we didn't.
Well, that's nice.
That's cool though. You got a whole family of
Hey.
musicians.
Hey, I ain't chopped liver. I played the piano.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, I've got an electric
Yes.
downstairs.
I don't like them. I 88 keys, my darling.
Yeah. You know, I got
Keyboard,
a couple of
ooh.
harmonicas, and
Harmonica's fun.
I figured out how to make them make noise. I don't know how to play,
I do.
but I know how to make it make noise.
I can fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and play the spoons.
Make it
or
sound
something.
good.
Yeah, right on.
Play the spoons.
Who else we
Yeah.
got? Linda Rhodes in the room.
Hey, Dan.
Hunt from Connecticut. Mark Rossetti, another hillbilly buddy of mine from up north. Good to see ya. Kimberly, welcome to the room. Yeah, we're gonna get into some discussion here that we there's so much going on out there in the world.
What?
But
What's going on?
politically here in Massachusetts, lately you can't really open a paper or watch anything go by on Facebook where the Mass GOP isn't out there doing all kinds of great things. And by great things, I mean the establishment selling out to their buddies and the
What a
conservative
shocker.
conservative message going
Anybody
right down
shocked
the
out there?
crapper. We got
Hey, Mickey.
a governor, he's all about gun control, all about funding Planned Parenthood. Even if there was a ban, a national ban from government funding, this special interest group, Governor Baker has chosen that he is going to fund them fully here in Massachusetts on the taxpayer dollar.
Governor Baker should bake cakes.
Oh, for crying out loud. So, yeah, he's right up there. And, of course, he's not there for no reason. He was allowed. There were people that helped him get there and people that
Caroline.
voted him into office. And, they're abound. They're out there. What we see now is just the most recent in a long line of GOP chairs here in Massachusetts.
Tell people who that is.
Who's on their way out. Kirsten Hughes. Her name is Kirsten Hughes. And, she's just the most recent in a long line of embarrassing leadership. And what keeps happening here is you get a party chair that falls on her sword, his or her sword, and leaves, and they think by seating a new chair, everything's going to be better.
They are hoisted upon their own petards.
Yeah, and people are, the voters out there, the, unenrolled and the Republicans that are, making this happen, really.
Thanks, Linda.
They're just, they're not quite getting it. They're,
Why?
Well, they don't understand how to fix it. I'm going to put it out there right now, and this is not the first time. Those of you that know, that have been involved with me with a Republican Assembly, which we'll talk a little bit about, other Republican-related activism, this will not really be anything new. But for those who are tuning in, and this is relevant in other states too, is you got to understand how the system works. So we're going to spend a fair amount of time here tonight, and we're going to really pick it apart a little bit. You got to understand what it is.
Educate me.
All right. Yeah. Fisher. Yeah. Fisher was actually Jamie brought name up. We're going to talk about him a little bit.
Right.
As we progress through this. To fix the problem, let's first just really quickly summarize and get that out there.
Okay.
To fix what is wrong, having a chair fall on their sword and then a new chair be seated and all the vassals go home calmly. What needs to happen is, you need a new chair. That's obvious. The last 3 or 4 chairs for the Mass GOP have been a colossal embarrassment in the bag for the establishment.
Yeah.
But for change to take place, the type of change that is systemic, which means that it's system-wide, which means it'll probably have some longevity, it'll have strength, it'll have an ability to grow, all those great things. You have got to start at the town committee level. The closest the Republican Party ever came to correcting itself was actually back during the Ron Paul campaigns, because that was actively taught amongst the volunteers, is where the power centers are. And it's not up at the top with your chairperson or your national committee man. It's at the town level, because they control and vote into place who their state committee people are. Now, the state committee they're the ones with their hand on the wheel, the party apparatus in the state, okay? They control and make the decisions. The rest of the party officers fulfill that, and they're supposed to be your state committee people. They're supposed to be in tune and connected with you Republicans out there in the towns and the communities. Well, the state committee is in the bag too. They're all just using this as a stepping stone. They're not inclined to make the type of change that you need. You need to have in place not just a barely a majority, 51% of a vote to amend the party platform, to fire the national committee man, Ron Kaufman, big international lobbyist, Solyndra being one of his old customers. Remember Solyndra?
I remember.
The big green energy, took a lot of loot down the old rat hole. Well, that's him. He's in the bag. He's an international lobbyist. We know where his interests are. He's done nothing but sell out. If you don't change your state committee, and you can't do that unless you got your town committees in place, because it's a state committee. Once you own that committee, once that's in the hands of the people, then change can happen overnight. They can schedule a meeting to go through and make the platform fully and honorably conservative, if that was their goal, which it seems to be the goal of the grassroots. It's never going to get there this way. You could have a vote of no confidence and get rid of your national committee man, your chairman, whatever needs to be done. But you got to own the state committee, and rather than the state committee being owned, the state committee will never not be owned until the people have gotten control of their town committees. So if you want to pontificate on whatever grand scheme you have as a Republican to take back control, take back the party, if you don't own lock, stock, and barrel the town committees, whatever little whim is going through your head, it means nothing. It really doesn't, because they're the ones that are going to be able to maintain the longevity and keep the right people in their seat. So it's nowhere near that. Less than half of the state is represented with a town committee. So there's no way, I mean, right there, from a statewide perspective, if I were ever going into the Mass GOP as chair, I'd be looking at the map, the coverage map, just going, oh my goodness, what have they done? And how do you excite the people? That's the thing. What message is going to come out? What grand Republican do you see is going to come out of the woodwork with a message that will excite and motivate you to do much of anything? I see nothing. I mean, let's just look, for example, at who they're putting forward. The establishment pick right now. Everyone thought as this whole election played out with that Senate race, Jeff Deal in the race, there were those that actually thought he was going to have a really good chance of winning, although the odds and the numbers were really, really against him. It was not looking likely at all. Many of those said, this is really not a race for the Senate seat. This is a race to see who's going to be the next face of the Republican Party. So a lot of folks expected Jeff Deal to run for chair, and he didn't. The establishment, I think he's been offered some. We're going to keep an eye on him. He's doing some consulting, I guess. We're going to have to see, but I'm going to give some time. I'm going to watch Jeff Deal, see what great things comes his way. But Brent Anderson, the establishment, little ass kisser. I've never gone to he used to, I think it was treasurer he was. I don't know how many meetings I had gone to where I was in the audience where, it was like a flip of a coin whether he even had any tangible information as an officer's report.
Hey, what's another name for ass kisser, darling?
Well, I don't know.
Sycophant.
That sounds a little too
education.
A little too hard to pronounce. But yeah, big establishment boy. He's what's that word again?
Sycophant.
Sycophant.
That's right.
Okay. He's one of those butt-kissing sycophants.
That's right.
And he's going to do whatever the establishment wants. That establishment being mostly Ron Kaufman, unless he can get rid of him. So you got to look at Kaufman, the national committee man. He's very well entrenched, very powerful within the political circles. Look at him up on the table, just out of reach. Can't quite reach him. But you got to get rid of him. What do? You don't lash out and it's something that isn't quite there within your grasp. But boy, you start kicking out the support. Kick out a couple legs of the table and see how soon they come down.
Right.
So don't go after the man himself. Go after who enshrines him and puts him and protects him in that position that he's in. Work your way down the food chain until there's something that you can get your hands around their political necks. All right, so these are your state.
Let's do it.
This is state committee people. That's what I've identified. They're the ones that control things, the apparatus in the party, in the state house, not in the state house, but up in the corner office there for the GOP.
Hey, Bobby.
All right, they are at the helm.
Yeah.
And nothing's Jenny, absolutely. We're actually going to be rolling out something new here in the new year. I'm sorry I missed your text earlier. I would absolutely love to network with you. If you want, text me your number. I think I lost your number. I had it there because you've been on my show before, I believe. But absolutely, thank you. Yeah, we've got to face the facts. The ones that are actually in control, and that may not be our target right now, is the state committee.
Hey, Rich.
They're the ones that are tasked with instituting and enforcing the bylaws of the party to make sure that those candidates that line up with our values are properly supported financially, resource, manpower of all kind, whatever.
Holding their feet to the fire.
Yeah, and if something's wrong, if there's a chairman that is just not doing it, then you have a vote of no confidence. You get rid of him and you seat someone who is qualified. Now, since that's where the action's at, with making real change overnight, party level, and that includes reinstituting a conservative platform. All right, the party's way, way messed up. I don't see this happening for many years,
You think?
even to decades, because of the work that's got to be done at the lower level. It was intentionally imploded. The Kaufman regime and all of the chairs for the past, I don't know how many
Stinking
chairs.
shame.
Yes, I'm going to be talking about Jim Lyons for sure. They have imploded that grassroots level, all right, because that bothers them. That threatens them. We got 351 municipalities here in Massachusetts. What can you imagine being just a small handful? And I mean, you literally count them on your fingers that are really pulling the strings in Boston for this entire party. All right, how are that little handful of people going to manipulate and control all of those Republican town committees, each committee being populated with free thinkers and activists? That's why they imploded it. They knew that the will of the people, when they get their RTCs together, they have good meetings, they talk up the information, not just the crap they're spoon-fed from Boston, but they look at their voting records. Are we supporting the right guy? And they come back with votes of no confidence and push back. All right, then the party apparatus is supposed to react accordingly. Well, they're not. They're all hunkering down. They're all kissing each other's ass and protecting each other. So everything, there's rotten fruit all over the tree, people. You have got to get back to your town committees. Now, Brent Anderson
Fear not.
and Jeff Deal, they're the dynamic duo that's being put forward as your primary establishment candidates.
Who again?
Brent Anderson.
Okay.
All right. If I was a Republican, I'd
Matt.
have no confidence in the guy. I've seen him work. He's a nothing burger.
I like that phrase.
Yeah. And conversely, establishment pick number 2 is Jim Lyons. Now, he's one of those guys where I've had Republicans, rhinos, full-fledged rhinos, come out to me and say, candidates like Scott Brown, well, when you got a candidate that's with you 80% of the time, you can't go against them. You got to vote with them.
Oh, I've heard that so many
Yeah.
years.
First, now, what I do is when they say something like that, I say, I challenge your numbers. Scott Brown might vote with us 20% of the time, But they like to use that argument. They'll often say if someone votes the 80%. Jim Lyons is probably one of those people that will vote conservatively 80% of the time, but he screwed up on gun control bills.
It's called rose-colored glasses, darling.
Yeah. So there's 2 establishment picks as far as I'm concerned, a primary and a secondary. And, it's just the new flavor of the day. Whoever comes in is quite possibly going to be at the helm of the party as they sink below the level
Brian. How are ya?
of ballot access in Massachusetts. They're dangerously close to it now. And it's obvious to me, and which is exactly why I'm done with that. I've been a delegate to the National Convention twice. I've
because you're a firecracker.
Worked my butt off in my town committee because I knew that was the right thing to do. What Ron Paul taught back in 2008 and 2012, it was right on the money. And the only problem is
Let's get that back. Let's get that back.
We had a lot of people that did, but it wasn't enough. But nonetheless, my point there is all of that work still remains outstanding. It's still got to be done. So you Republicans who think, there's a shakeup now and Kirsten Hughes is falling on her sword and heading out the door, and we all saw probably that article that Steve Aylward put out. Technically, he's right, but I've seen Steve go soft too. That's the honest to God truth. I've seen him get in there and support Baker when he should have been supporting Fisher.
Fear.
I've seen him exercise tolerance of the intolerable and vote as an opportunist. So, although deep in his heart he's probably conservative, he's also.
But it has to show. You have to live it. You have to breathe it. It has to be you. It has to come out of your pores.
It does.
I see it so many
Well, that's the difference with
So many
with
times.
integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one's looking.
Correct. And not selling out.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. And you've got nothing but sellouts in control of the entire apparatus there. The state committee, the executive officers.
I have a question.
And the guy on top of the table that you really got to get rid of, the real bad apple, right. Kaufman.
I have a question.
Yeah, shoot away.
When you win the seat in an office that you run for and you win that seat, don't you take an oath to uphold the Constitution? Don't you raise your right hand and swear to uphold the Constitution?
You're getting your apples in my oranges there, girl. You said swore an oath to an office. You're implying a government position, a party, the Republican Party. And I found this out through direct experience. They can go up and violate their bylaws directly, screw you over right to your face. And you can turn around, go to a lawyer thinking you're going to get justice in this. You got proof. You've got the documents. And you go to a lawyer, they're going to tell you this is a private club. If you don't like the way they work and the way they run their rules, quit.
But
they're a private
But I thought it was
club.
for the people. Okay, you take an oath to uphold the Constitution of these United.
The GOP. They don't take an oath to nothing. They're nothing.
But don't you put your hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and swear an oath?
In government, you do when you're sworn into an office. This is a politics. Party politics is a private club. Did you know here in Massachusetts? Here in Massachusetts, the primary parties, the Democrats and Republicans, have trademark control over the word Republican.
Say what?
Yes, the word Republican. When I was president of the Massachusetts Republican Assembly, they used to threaten us almost annually for not being chartered to use the word Republican in our name.
What?
Yes, they were prepared to take us to court, thought we'd knuckle under, and I said, see you there, and we pressed forward. We battled it several times. They finally more or less left us alone. But yeah,
you went through all that.
Yeah. Oh, they're bastards. I told you, the GOP insiders, they'll sue themselves. Yeah, they'll stop other Republicans who are working hard and advancing and growing. If you're not working hard, advancing and growing in the direction they want.
Right, like Don Humison?
Oh, he's just a great big squishy marshmallow. He goes wherever the most pressure is applied. He'll tell you something in the privacy of a little room or an office.
So that's why he doesn't really care about the Second Amendment, which is part of the Constitution then.
I don't think I ever saw him at one of our rallies. No.
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on most of them. I can't...
And your ilk. He's a nice man. That's it.
Yeah, well, it's like I said about Ann Goby. I'd go to a chicken barbecue in their backyard, maybe even play some horseshoes with them, but keep them the hell out of the State House. They don't belong representing anything.
But they are. They're there.
Yeah, well, surprise. So let's change that. You Republicans, I am so sorry to say there's not a pill you're going to be able to take. There's no quick fix. If you're not prepared... And I actually know a lot of Republicans who don't even like Ron Paul. They loathe him for some reason. But he was exactly right. If you fail to incorporate what he recommended in his campaigns for his volunteers, you're doing yourself a disservice. But, you got to come to the realization you are just not going to have a quick overnight fix until you've got 3/4... 80% of your 351 municipal towns are covered with a valid, viable, voting, in good standard Republican town committee, because we have state caucuses, They've tried twice just recently, the establishment to do away with caucuses so your preferred candidate can go in and cherry pick their delegates.
Sick.
It's literally like
how fair. How balanced.
An Iraq-style vote or an Iran-style vote where 99.9% of the people all vote the way they're told.
Therein lies the club.
Unbelievable.
It's disgusting.
So, yeah, that level of work is going to take years and years. I don't see a critical mass of people that get it. I'm done. I know I've got the Constitution Party. That's the cool thing here with us is there's no resistance. These people that are involved, they're psyched about their platform.
Hi, Chris.
They're actually they're fighting for it and
Hi,
will
Richard.
go to work for their town committees, not dissolve them. So it's almost the exact opposite situation. And here in the state, who do we have as the saviors? I mentioned the Republican Assembly before. All right, here's a group. I was president for 2 terms. First 6 months, dust was settling. It was a horrible split up. The group was already on the verge of being decharted because it couldn't maintain a minimum number of members of, I think, 50. So there was a lot of chaos and uproar. There were 2 warring factions that were going for the presidency, the establishment of the assembly, and then the grassroots. And they were gutting themselves. They were tearing themselves literally in half. And I ran up the middle. I put a good slate of people together, and I ran for 2 terms. And orders of magnitude more money was raised and given out to candidates. The bylaws were rewritten, and the whole thing basically turned on its head, where the membership had direct control. If something went wrong, they could deal with it. All the procedures were in place. The committee assignments were there working, vibrantly to help everything from our fundraising, our outgoing message, our candidate pool. It was wonderful. Things were finally starting to take shape. And then there was a big division again. Those same establishment types that were at war the first time as we came in were still there. They hadn't gone anywhere. Mary Lou Daxel, she really felt she was born and anointed to be president. She was very offended when she didn't win the first time around. And all of her same little cohorts, and a couple of them are now running for president of the organization. So you have a thing that is replicating itself within this group. In particular, Brian Kennedy, I hear, and John Damasio. All right. Brian Kennedy and Jacob Swisher. I've got a screenshot of these 2 guys. They're out there commenting and supporting on some Brokeback Mountain post that was out there. Some kid in Boston who's openly gay, and he calls himself the new face of the Republican Party. And here's these 2 characters.
Hi, Linda.
Within Massachusetts Republican Assembly, is supposed to be the conservative wing of the Republican Party, are out there hooping it up with these guys. And Jacob Swisher, by the way, you might say, who in the heck is this Jacob Swisher, and why is he hanging around with Brian Kennedy? His name first came to me my first term as president. Mary Lou Daxel came to me and pulled me aside at an event. Says, we have got to be on our best example and our best behavior. Jacob Swisher, I think it was from down in Virginia or something like that, in that area. He's coming up and he can raise us a lot of money. We really got to straighten our act up and put on a good show and have good image and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, since when that I am the president of this organization, and why on earth would I get on bended knee and kowtow to someone who I don't even know? Well, I got to know him and tried to figure out who this guy was. And as it turns out, he was pretty much booted out of his state. All right, the Republican Assembly from his state booted him out. He was facing legal charges. He was down there, and the same thing he was doing down there, he was preparing to do up here. He was pretty much like a opposition control. He'd go in there, sweet talk his way in, find these conservative candidates, convince them that he was the best thing since sliced bread, would raise all kinds of money for them, help them with their campaign. And what little money, because it's the thing about grassroots conservative candidates out there, is that they don't have a lot of money many times, because it truly is grassroots. They're not funded by the deep pockets of the political elite. So they really are grassroots, and money is an issue. Well, what little money these guys have, they dump into the pocket of people like Jacob Swisher, and then he just, holds them, stalls them off, says he's working on stuff, not working on a thing. not doing a darn thing. It's opposition control. These candidates think that their consultant is working for them, and they don't. And then, only to find out later, usually when it's too late, that they've just skipped town. All right, well, Jacob Swisher, I hear, is now coming to Massachusetts.
Oh, gee.
And I research a little bit more, and I find out he's actually living in Mary Lou Daxlin's basement.
What?
And he's hanging around with our candidates. And I started getting nervous and wondering what's going on. And sure enough, he was up here positioning himself to do the same thing. Now, I don't know if Mary Lou Daxlin knew and was allowing for the infiltration, or if she was just naive and didn't know. Neither one is good, especially for someone who's purporting to be a prepared and ready leader for an organization. I mean, you can all go look at the numbers and see what the Republican Assembly has done since my exit out of there, and see what Mary Lou, let that speak for itself.
Okay.
Now, with these two characters, Brian
Smells fishy to me.
Yeah, let people dig around a little bit, because when you do,
Hey,
you
Kevin.
scratch beneath the surface, this stuff is right there.
Yep.
So right up front,
Public record.
something seemed off with this Swisher guy. He brought in by who is now the president of the Republican Assembly, living in her basement, for crying out loud. So it isn't like it was a loose relationship or acquaintance.
Wow.
So in he came, and he did nothing but cause trouble. Got his hooks into one of our conservative candidates, and the exact same thing happened here.
Unreal,
I warned
yet it
about
is.
it. These guys, they were part and parcel to bringing it in. Horrible
Wow.
shame. Make sure I'm not missing something in the text. I'm trying to read and blab at the same time.
Well, Jamie says, because of Ron Paul, I joined the RTC and was their chair for 2 years.
Yeah, and as you know, Jamie, they actively fought against you too. You worked your butt off to grow and bring people in, and they worked equally as hard to try to keep you down. Now, John Damasio, here's another one. I've got a Dropbox full, and I just went back, took a look. It's all there. John Damasio was more controlled opposition. He was in the Republican Assembly working with Daxlin and Swisher and Kennedy, Leanne Kay.
Hey, Tracy.
A whole herd of them rhinos all up together. And actively working against. We had a candidate. He came out of nowhere. He was a surprise even to me. Came right out of my own district, as a matter of fact, here in District 1 and 2, Western Massachusetts. Here comes Mark Fisher. And we look at him, we evaluate him, we look at his position statements. He graded well. And, he carried those small government conservative values. Very, very good when you grade him on these things. Well, he was running for governor. All right, he wound up suing the GOP and winning because they screwed him. Which is hard to do. This is going back to what you mentioned earlier about ramifications for breaking the rules. In this case, when you cross the line, when there's voting that's taking place, when a vote can be disenfranchised, civil rights and that type of stuff, that is kind of the breaking line, the legal breaking line. What happens in these private little meetings and RTC meetings and little private get-togethers, they screw you right to your face, violate their own rules blatantly, and there's nothing you can do. A lawyer will say it's a private club. You don't like it, leave. And the GOP knows that. That's why they do it. So
That's just, I don't even have a word for that.
I've got documents in there, and I told these people they're false little demagogues right now.
Underhanded.
And they're big mouths on the internet. I see them out there constantly. So if you're looking for the Republican Assembly to be your savior of your Republican and conservative values, your Republican Party in general, if that's your greatest chances for survival, you are doubly screwed. That's all I got to say. These two characters looks like they're just going to get swept in. All right, they're garbage in, garbage out. Looks like Mary Lou's had enough. Things are getting pretty embarrassing for her. She's probably going to take her leave of absence. And good luck to Brian Kennedy and John Damasio. They're going to have they may be going down on their own sinking ship. But your Republicans in general, if that's your greatest hope for reinstalling conservative values here in in the Commonwealth. It's easy to see why in the Constitution Party. For us, we don't got that fight.
Okay, so what are the things that we can do to spurn hope to change things up?
In what respect? For the Republican Party or in general?
In general.
In general, if those that are Democrats who look at their party leadership as just being overboard, take advantage of the walkaway movement. All right, I mean that makes sense to me. Is it isn't that you're leaving your party; it's that your party's left you. Which is why there are so many unenrolled people out there. Is that many of them left the Republican Party, and they've got to decide how they're going to be politically relevant. They can't play in the political primaries, the party primaries. So, what you were about to say something?
No, I'm part of the. I'm
the
unenrolled.
The unenrolled crowd, yeah.
So it's hashtag walk away.
Yeah,
if you're a Democrat.
For the Democrats, the Republicans, your party is here in Massachusetts. All right, it's different in different parts of the country. There's a little bit more foothold in some more conservative sections, but here in Massachusetts, we got to call it what it is. And your party is imploded. There's a shell, a facade that's left. And what's there? I mean, when you see Kirsten Hughes running for the door,
osteoporosis,
right,
lots of holes.
And we've seen this with other party chairs too. They get to the point where the stink is so bad they make a run for it.
Hey, Virginia.
So Kirsten's heading for the door right now. She kind of falls on her sword. There'll be a little trash talk right now, a lot of flag waving and rabble rousing to try to get people all motivated for Brent Anderson. Give me a freaking break. It's like the party is rushed up on stage to pick its nose for everybody. All right, this is bad and getting worse. I don't know what the heck they're thinking.
Who's this again?
Brent Anderson, I guess, is the flavor of the day. To be supported by Jeff Deal. And then Jim Lyons, I hear, is also running for party chair. But, as I explained, that really doesn't matter. All right, you could take Trey Gowdy or Reagan himself and make him party chair. All that means is the state committee gets to tell them what to do.
Hey,
the
Jerry.
State committee is pretty much rotten to the core, too. There's not nearly enough, nowhere near enough conservative small government constitutionalists on that state committee to really amount to a piss hole in the snow, to be honest with you. Sorry. But that it leaves an image that I hope people will associate with the Republican Party leadership, a pee hole in the snow. Yeah. I mean, what...
You are a plethora of information, I have to tell you.
Well, and it's not... it's because I've been beat up and cheated and screwed so many times, and you don't forget that stuff. So, yeah, I sat back, a year or two ago,
hey, Steve.
Scratching my head saying, what's the new thing that I can do to try to right the Republican ship? And I finally exhausted them. I've done everything. I played by the rules, and I would...
I understand. I understand.
And I can't get enough people around me to say, yeah, you're right. You've got to populate all your town committees. They don't understand the importance of it. Not a critical mass. Some of them do. I know it just doesn't apply to everyone. But if you want to right the ship, don't think you're going to do it unless you have a solid supermajority of your town committees locked up in conservative hands. And they're years, decades possibly away from that.
Hey, Richard. It may be that they're slowly changing the color of the rose on the glasses, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
People don't like the truth, David. You know that. Okay? Yeah. I mean, you went in and you followed all the rules, and look what happened. You got bitten.
Yeah, I mean, we make little advances along the way. It wasn't like it was totally fruitless. I mean, there's times where you get to do a little
some
bit
good
of good,
things,
but it wasn't enough. And it's
because the GOP doesn't support grassroots conservative folks.
No.
That's why.
No, but what I predict here is there's just going to be a quick changeover. All right, let's say things go really well, and they just laugh Brent Anderson right out of the place. He'll probably just belly up to the bar, and to him tomorrow will be no big deal. Jim Lyons gets in. Hurrah. Guy is with us 75, 80% of the time. The state committee still stinks. I mean, you're going to go nowhere. Whoever you put up there in the chair is just the guy the state committee is going to tell what to do. That's all. Your state committee, rotten to the core. If you got rid of a supermajority of them and we're able to get constitutional conservatives in there, they could do some house cleaning. But how you do that? That's by having a good, solid town committee representation geographically all across the state.
It's like a bushel of rotten apples, and good ones are trying to get in there, and the rotten ones, they can't kick the rotten ones out.
Yeah. No, it's a mess.
It's a mess.
Constitution Party. We ain't going to deal with that, though. We ain't going to deal with that. The more people that come on, is just the more people that are going to fight with your town to have local representation. And good news is we're dealing with local elections this coming year or two. Local elections, that's where we want to be.
Correct.
Putting our roots down deep in the communities.
Hey, Diana.
Hi, Diana. Good to see you. Dan Hunt, good to see you. Had Jen Coffee in the room tonight. Make sure you post your link, Jen, so people can keep up with you and what's going on. Steve's with us. Jeanette,
hey, Jerry.
Jerry knows he's someone who has politically been in with Democrats, working with them. He's one of those he's about the Constitution, and this is surprising. And
Thank
actually,
you.
It isn't really surprising, but we're finding, as I'm talking to some of my colleagues in the Constitution Party and other parts of the country, there's a reoccurring theme, and it makes sense now. I think about it more. There are like JFK-style Democrats out there who
hey, James.
their whole families, for generations sometimes, overwhelmed with Democrats, staunch Democrats. And there's a stigma. They just can't make that full jump to vote for a Republican ever, no matter how good the Republican is. They just couldn't.
Hi, Rich.
What we're seeing is that the Constitution Party, although in some of these states too, their Constitution Party platform is more conservative than the Republican Party platform. Democrats are jumping ship to vote for those candidates. This is amazing and exciting to me. And it isn't a fluke. I'm hearing it from other states all over. It's starting to come in. I'm reaching out now for more real-time information now that I've had some chance to be consulted on this and think about it more. And I'm wildly excited about the potential. The timing is wonderful. The GOP here in Massachusetts is imploding. It's like seeing a skunk hitting the road, and it's kind of twitching a little bit. It's pretty much dead, but there's a few last little thrashings going on. That's what we're seeing with the Mass GOP.
Hey, James Yeager's in the house.
James, how are you, my brother? James was the filmmaker that came into the Second Amendment rally last year and did a documentary that just came out. Hope you all have been able to check that out. If you haven't, you got a moment, James, and you want to put that link up there for folks, check it out. Support his efforts if you can. I hear
what education.
I think James said he was working on a new film possibly coming up that was on his radar for property rights and things like that, and Agenda 21 type stuff. So
really,
yeah. And speaking of which, I'm going to give a little selfless plug here. Hal Shurtleff and I were getting back together, and we're doing the old Hal and Dave show.
Yeah.
Yep, we're going to be going out and talking about Agenda 21 here in Massachusetts, surrounding areas. Yeah,
thank you guys.
He's made me aware of some
good stuff, huh?
Bag bans in the supermarkets.
What?
Yeah, they're banning plastic bags now. Sustainability, environmentally.
What do you mean?
Little plastic bags that you get when you go shopping.
You mean I can't bring in my own plastic bag anymore?
You go into some places, the stores, they're outlawed. They're banned.
What if I bring him in? They're going to put handcuffs on me?
I got a better idea. We just may have a solution to that.
What?
I'll let you know. Hal's working on it.
Yeah.
Hal's got a pretty good plan going.
might
I'll
go-
get back to you and let you know.
Really?
Yeah, Boston has banned them. There's a few of them out there in the
intrigued.
Boston area. So Hal and I are hitting the show again. We're going to be talking it up about aggressive land use policies, this green and sustainable nonsense, the resilient cities, bike trails where there's no bikes. We're going to be hitting it all and connecting the dots. We did
Amen.
it before. The only time, like
finally.
I said, we could sit down with a room full of people. We had state reps up in New Hampshire get up and identify themselves after listening to our lecture. All right, so I'm out there giving it all my usual, and I'm not holding nothing back. And I remember one time this woman comes up and introduced herself, shook my hand. I said, I love what you had to say. Says, can you come and speak with our group? And I, what group's that? And she named off some committee in the state legislature. Turns out she was a state representative. So you never know who's in the group.
Amen.
We did have a guy from Esquire magazine. I was actually a subject of an attack piece in Esquire magazine.
Whoa, congratulations.
Yep. Thank you. So, yeah, but by and
Amen.
large, I don't think we've ever had an instance where if we had our 2-hour span to talk, that we couldn't convince a room full of people that something was wrong, that they knew the buzzwords. They went back, they dug these things up. We were hearing back in
No
emails,
kidding.
in messages, and phone calls saying, Mr. Kopacz, you were right. They're learning the buzzwords. They're going and they're finding this stuff on their own. Yep, Plymouth, no plastic. How you doing, Roger? Hope you had
Hey,
a Merry
Roger.
Christmas and good New Year on the way. Shrewsbury,
Cheryl.
Michael was saying. Yep. So,
No plastic in Northampton.
Yeah,
Whoa,
Northampton.
I'm shocked.
Yep. Yeah, the town where men are men and so do women. Hate that place. Gives me the creeps every time you go through there. It's sustainable, everything. The traffic calming measures. Good Lord.
We got Scott Wharton calling in,
Oh,
darling.
yeah, I gotta check back with that's on something else. We're doing some work together, early work on the Second Amendment.
Oh, yes.
Yep. So yeah, the GOP, they're
Scott's a good guy.
in an awful lot of trouble. I don't know what the real solution is here, but yeah, it's going to mean hard work. And if the people do not understand right up front that it's years of actual hard work in the trenches, building those relationships in your committees, in your towns, because you need to represent in the state caucus.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's the only way to do it. And in the special elections too.
Don't you think that scares people? It's like, oh, all that work and how are we going to win and blah, 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 blah. And they just turn tail and they
10 or 12
exit
years ago,
stage left.
I remember myself saying, "Oh, really? That's going to take years and years and years and years, and years and years and years has gone by. It has. So don't think that.
Yeah, time passes quickly.
Time
folks.
does, but not just work hard, but work smart.
Yeah.
Always look for opportunities. All right. So in a sense, you got to be an opportunist. When opportunity presents itself, pounce on it. Make it happen. But that's what it's going to take. And I don't see there's a critical mass of people or Republicans in Massachusetts that's going to be able to put the infrastructure back into place.
Well, I say nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah, well, it is changing for us. And those that are jumping on with the Constitution Party don't have those hurdles.
That's
we
right.
don't have an aggressive chairman. We don't have an aggressive national committee man who is going to...
What, for the GOP, you mean? Mass GOP?
No, for the Constitution Party, like the GOP.
What do you mean?
The Constitution Party doesn't have an aggressive apparatus,
apparatus.
that will fight it. It will
Okay.
fight for them instead. And I know Republicans, it's almost like foreign to them. My God, I've got state committee men calling me, asking how they can help, offering me services, help me set up events.
Explain apparatus.
The leadership You know, we got in the Republican Party, you're supposed to have a state committee man. You got regional representatives on your state committee. It is their job to be shakers and movers with the towns in their district. What does your RTC need? What does yours need? Hey, you two got an event going on at the same time. Let's see how we're going to work together. You know, help them fundraise. Share information with them. You know, there was nothing supernatural about the success that we enjoyed with the Republican Assembly when I was in there a couple terms. It really is this simple. Replicate those things that work. Avoid those things that don't. To know that is good communication from your membership up through your leadership to the officers in the state. And it's good communication. You know, this is all, it's like your preppers. Everything that they do, they like to talk about firearms all the time, guns, but there's a lot more involved to being a prepper and even in the militias. But communication is always the root. It's the commonality of anything they do successfully. Anything they do successfully it's critically important that communication is there. This is no different. You're building an army, a political army. So if you're lacking communication, you know, if half of your army's officers are actually turncoats and there to keep you down or kill you, squash you, that's what the Republicans have. They're imploding. As we speak, there's little crumbs left, and it's twitching in the road. I don't know who's going to ultimately be at the helm. It looks like it's either going to be Brent Anderson or Jim Lyons. But when the state committee stinks to high heaven, you know, what's the hope? Let's look at the town committees. Yeah, there's nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing I see that's going to save their asses. I don't know. I got the call-in line if anyone wants to either come in and pontificate on this or defend these jamokis, do whatever.
Right.
The call-in's there if you want to call in right now.
We left the GOP, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
I did it about a year ago. You did it a lot longer.
Yeah, I don't regret it one bit.
Okay. So what is the solution?
The solution is that we march forward. I'm not going to worry too much. This is the most time I'm going to spend on the Republican Party is what you're hearing tonight right now. I'm going to sit here and just trash talk them for an hour because they really ain't done nothing right. Look at Baker. We got a gun grabbing, baby
You should
killing.
bake cakes.
Yeah, I don't even know if he'd be good at that.
Well, his last name says he's a baker.
Yeah, well, even that's a little.
He's gonna bake. Is he gonna end up baking in the sun?
Also rhymes with faker.
I know.
So yeah, I'm not gonna waste a whole lot more time on in the Republican ranks here. I've cut that cord.
He should shut his cake hole.
Yeah, he should shut his little cake hole and just go away. But you know what? He won't. What you watch? What if we wind up plagued with him running against Trump in 2020?
Oh God!
I mean, that sounds.
Holy Spirit!
It sounds like enough to make a projectile vomit. But hey,
Holy Spirit, help us!
It's possible. You know, what if he teams up with Deval Patrick? Oh, Republicans can work with Democrats. You see. What if it's a Deval Patrick and Charlie Baker against Trump and Pence? Huh? Oh, yeah, they'll play the race card because they got Deval Patrick, right?
I think they'd lose.
Baker can talk about his...
Bring it on. That's what I say.
Yeah, Baker can talk about all his...
Bring it on. How about that?
You know, the carbon tax. He'll get to campaign on how well the carbon tax for vehicles is going here in the state. All right, funding for Planned Parenthood. Oh, man, they have lots to brag about. But, yeah, that could be your party leadership. I predicted Baker was going to jump ship. All right, he was that soft and squishy and left years ago that I said, you know, he may come up here and just posture like a Republican a little bit to your face, really screw you behind your back and do that for a few years. And then once he's built his own liberal support, jump ship and just go over and be a Democrat. And I'm not taking my prediction from a few years ago off the table. I still think that's possible. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see. What do we got here in the comments? What's going on here?
Diana Ploss. Oh, Markey. Oh, Ed Markey. Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
Markey. Oh, for crying out loud. There's another one that makes me
Rumor is he will run.
wanna
Scroll it
puke.
down, darling.
No.
Hold on. He will. He will. Who's gonna run for Markey's seat? Oh, Charlie Baker.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. No, I'm sure he's going to get gifted something. Just like
Sure.
Jeff Deal. I'm going to keep my eye on him. Wait and see what it is that falls into
Fletcher.
his lap soon.
Go get my wedding ring and my engagement ring. I
Yeah.
forgot to put them back on after I washed the dishes.
Yeah, I don't tell him that, or you'd be following him around the yard with a plastic baggie.
Oh, shoot.
So yeah, we'll leave the call-in line up there for a little bit if people want to have maybe you don't agree with my assessment here.
Jamie says,
What?
I'm very silly tonight, sorry. Baker makes cow pies.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
Cow pie, all right.
Thank you.
Well,
What else we got, darling?
other than disappointments from the GOP, what do we got going on? Oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about the prepper tip of the week. I don't have any cool little gadgets to show you or anything like that.
Why not?
But I do want to.
Christmas, holidays,
Yeah,
busy.
yeah. But, I
stuff.
mean, we're going to be doing this every week forever and ever. So there's going to be lots of cool things we'll be able to show
What about
you
this
there.
UN flag bag? It's filthy.
You
Look at-
are like a ricocheting bullet.
Sorry. Look at this thing. Isn't it gross?
There's quite a history to that. There might be people in the room possibly that have enjoyed this flag before, but this I have had dragging off the back of my quad on an old logging chain. I used to skid logs with my quad. Well, I had this thing dragging off the back there at many, many events, many Liberty events up at Porkfest in New
Sorry, I
Hampshire,
missed that.
all over the place.
Can we do it again?
Oh, it was great fun, but I would definitely avoid touching that and touching your eye or food
Oh,
or anything.
gee.
There's almost every type of human body excrement on that thing that you could possibly imagine. But yeah, that UN flag, I've dragged that in the dirt hundreds of miles, I'll bet you. Yeah.
I remember it was hung over the trash barrel at the last rally.
Good.
And
Good.
that big giant pail had some stuff in it that was bad. I just felt it was appropriate.
I think it was a clam bake they had before or something.
It was awful.
Yeah, so there's a lot of history to that old
So I
flag.
hung it over it.
We've been abusing and taunting that old UN for quite a while. I can see them go, but yeah, that's that. That's the history of our
That's another
backdrop
show.
tonight. Yeah. We'll be talking a lot about the UN. Believe you me. I got Hal Shirtliff working together with me now. We're going to be talking more about that stuff.
Back to the prepper tip.
Prepper tip. This is something that people really overlook a lot, and it's one of those kind of low impact things that you can do almost any
that?
time. You got a few minutes, fill in a little a rainy day or whatever, or just having the luxury of timing.
Knitting
There's
and
things-
crocheting. I didn't know you crocheted or knitted.
No. I didn't say anything about that.
I told you I was just going to be silly tonight.
What it does is it allows you the luxury of time because things go on sale. You know, sometimes their prices are jacked up. Other times they have super big blowout sales.
What is it? What is it?
It's your resource library. There are so many things out there to learn, and it's important to actually learn many of these things from a preparedness and survival point of view. You really do want to know immediately, what do I have to do in a crisis moment? But at the same time, you can't possibly learn everything. There's a lot out there. And there are books from medical books, trauma and first aid, stitches, being able to do that. Poisoning.
We have a lot of them.
Recognizing when someone's been poisoned in some way. Books. I've got all kinds of books, field guides on animals and snails and birds and plants and all kinds of stuff.
I have my own.
They actually have books, field guides, that are for poisonous and venomous plants. All right, it's really actually better to know what will get you sick or kill you, as opposed to what is palatable and edible. Because a lot of those books that talk about edible things, They only include those that are domesticated vegetation or those that are nutrient dense or medicinal.
Correct.
You can actually eat almost anything. If it's not poisonous, you can eat it.
Right,
It's like
right,
a cattail. You can literally eat every portion of a cattail.
Really?
Except for the dried stalk. You can eat the root, you can eat the leaves, you can even eat the puffy little head.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So it's less about what to eat and more about what not to eat. So get field guides on poisonous and plants.
I don't have that, but you do, and I've seen it.
Everything from type of how-to that you could imagine. There's a vast number of things that you would want to be able to sit down and reference where you aren't in a crisis situation but could avoid one.
Should we get like new ones to keep up, or I mean, is there like
some things are timeless, some things aren't.
I think we should get some new ones.
But the thing is, we have access right now. Don't catch yourself in a crisis situation and think, oh man, I wish I knew how to give stitches. You can buy a suture kit in a book on how to give sutures on Amazon. You know what I mean?
Our prepper group did that, but I didn't get to go to that one.
Yeah, and they actually used cuts of meat and stuff like that as simulated human flesh and everything, and they learn. And this can come in handy.
Important,
out here in Western Mass, there are a lot of outdoorsy type of people that just head out for the woods.
Yeah.
And you have been out on horseback in the woods. You see how easily you can be slashed wide open. Remember we were out in Arizona? Some of that bramble we went through?
Yes. I can't believe my jacket didn't get ripped.
Yeah, I can't believe it either. That's the type of stuff that'll cut you deep. So
my ear got cut.
There's a lot of times
wow,
where
what an experience.
Knowing how to control bleeding, how to give sutures could come in handy. What's edible, what's poisonous.
Yeah.
All kinds of hazmat books, as a matter of fact. I've got old hazmat books that would be enormously useful in knowing what's toxic, its relative toxicity.
You can't just have them in your library. You have to kind of peruse through these.
Yeah.
And familiarize yourself
with
what's in it.
It's a wonderful time filler as you have books galore like that on your shelves. Like I said, on a rainy day, you feed your mind. You grab any one of those books. But it is definitely worth exploring this. You can't possibly know everything and learn everything. You learn the critical stuff to get you through a crisis situation.
Amen.
But many of these things, greenhouses, how to build greenhouses. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe we can follow up with a little list of ideas and a few resource books to help out.
I could do that. I could look those up.
Yeah, and once you get doing it too, this is one of those things where once you begin engaging in this activity to look around for resource books, the more you find, the more you realize is out there. You come across something and goes, "Oh my goodness!" I bet you,
fun.
I bet you they've got a book on that. That would water purification. If you've got vehicles, if you got bug out vehicles, get the Haynes manual for them. It's called a Haynes manual. You literally could take every nut and bolt of your vehicle apart and put it back together again.
Really?
Galen, good to see you, brother.
Yeah.
John, hello. Lisa, hello. So yeah, we're gonna. That's the main point. Don't underestimate this. This is obviously material that you don't carry with you in bug out bags or whatever. It's got to be, where your home base is. But fill your library with reference books like that. Maps. Different atlases and maps. You can get maps of all
maps. Can you imagine maps?
All types of maps out there. You can get bathymetric maps.
Not apps, maps.
Yeah, apps too. I bet you they got some for your phone as long as it's working, right?
Yeah, but if you're out in the wilderness and your phone's gonna die.
Yep, it could. Unless you.
It will die.
Unless you bought a book on how to make a solar phone charger.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's right. Where there's a will, there's a way, and probably a book on how to get you there. Right? Am I right, John? John knows.
Oh my God, John's an expert.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
He's
John Marcel.
He's one of the volunteers at one of the local prepper groups out here at Quabog Valley area. And,
that's right.
They've done some great classes and.
Can we have another class? About suturing, please.
Yeah, there you go. You got your first.
I'm not squeamish.
But good stuff to know how to do. Stop
Absolutely.
bleeding.
Absolutely.
And
This is no joke, folks.
yeah,
This
and
is
the
this
good
is
thing about
kind of
resource
important.
books and having that many is you can start sharing those amongst your friends too,
Amen.
and really spread the knowledge. Books are great, man. I just love the feel of turning a page once in a while.
I do.
Rather than pointing and clicking all the time.
I do. I have a little nook, from Barnes and Noble, but I just like to hold a book.
Yeah.
Digital's great, but nothing like holding paper.
Yeah. I mean, it's got its pros and cons because let's face it, you now got a
Cool.
thing that you've
Thanks,
got to
John.
keep out of the weather. They can't get wet. They're subject to fire. They can't be burned if you're not careful with them. Mold if they're not stored properly. So they are a thing. You got to preserve them and protect them like you would food. If you're food prepping, you don't just put it anywhere where it can get wet. Books are the same way, and they are expensive. Unlike food that's a consumable, you consume it and it's gone. These books can last forever, but you got to pay attention to where you put them.
But I found some dandies on Amazon.com.
Yeah, didn't you get some at Barnes & Noble? Didn't you pick up a couple of survival
Oh, I
books?
did. Those were the expensive ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I surely did. But I got a couple of really nice ones for $6. Shipping and handling $10, whatever.
Yeah.
It's worth that to keep it in your bug out bag or your car. If you're stuck in traffic, just whip open the little book there and educate yourself.
Sure. And don't think you have to go and buy an actual hard book all the time either. You can do that, and they are available, and that's a great way to do it. But Al
Correct.
Gore's internet, all
Of
right?
course.
Go right to Al Gore's internet and start searching up these things. Save them in a Word document. Save them on a thumb drive. Better yet, save them on 3 or 4 thumb drives. If you can access the information for free on the internet, load up. The cost is no option. Download these manuals and how-tos.
Oh yes.
Thumb drives, they're a couple of few
I know what you
dollars
mean.
now. All right, and you can hold an entire library.
Oh, you sure
on
can.
a thumb drive. So
You sure can.
don't put this off. Get what you can for free. Buy the stuff that you really want to have, that hardcover, that book in your hand. But don't underestimate the importance of these reference materials. They are so important in survival situation. Even short term, if you've got someone who is sick in your family, you get hit with a blizzard that knocks you down for 10 days like we had right here not too very long ago. That's a big crisis. That's a life and death crisis for that family, for that person.
That's right.
So don't think that just in small events don't matter. These are the types of things good to have around. So
Amen.
that's
I
the
say
moral
amen
of
to
my
that.
story there is load up on your reference library. Uh-oh. I guess some of our stuff's being filtered off or something.
What?
I don't know. We'll have to check that out. But anyways, we got the call-in number if anyone
Kidding me
wants
right
to
now?
come in and
Well, we're just gonna keep on going.
beat
so you
up
can
on the
do what you
GOP
want.
or defend the GOP or whatever you want to do.
It's not gonna deter us because we are seekers of all things brave, right?
Yeah, well, I'm tired of kissing ass. Or what's that word?
Sycophancy.
Yeah,
Sycophancy.
I'm not a sycophancy. So.
It keeps dropping. Lisa said.
Huh.
Stinkers.
I don't know. Everything shows green on this end. Hopefully, I see a few thumbs up. Yeah,
How's it look to everybody out there?
Looks like we're still up and going. Yeah, line's open. Anyone wants to call in? If
Hey,
not,
Pierre.
that's fine too. Pierre Girard, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Hey, Neil.
He was one of the early Ron Paulers I bumped
Really?
into.
Hey, Gigi.
Yep, he was out in the Springfield area, and it's amazing. That whole movement. I got to meet young people, older people.
That's so refreshing, isn't
There's
it?
such a diverse variety.
That's right.
So many different people that came together in the Ron Paul movement. And he
Cool.
was dead on, too. Gigi, good to see you in the room. Yeah, so we've got to give up on this Republican nonsense. We're here in Massachusetts. We're going to watch what's left crumble. We're witnessing it now. It's been happening slowly. They're writhing and twitching in the road, but eventually it's going to be all over. I'm not sure when ballot access for them is going to end, but political relevance and influence here inside the Commonwealth, it's already over.
Oh my goodness!
Done for, so
it's been over for so long.
The good news, they can do what they want. I love my real conservative grassroots friends out there, and some of them, like I described the JFK Democrats earlier. All right, there's some of them just can't and won't and could never pull the lever for a Republican just because their family, everyone they know, multi-generational Democrats. You probably got some Republicans that are the same way, and they just can't make that jump.
My parents were diehard Republican.
Yeah.
Okay, but they had a lot of Democrat friends.
Yeah, and that's the way it is in the state. But by way of comparison, and I'll bet you it's a similar situation. In my family, my grandfather, all the men seemed to be a Republican and the women were Democrat.
Really?
But my grandmother, the Democrat, was exceedingly more conservative than even the GOP apparatus is today.
Well, I'm fed up with that. I'm fed up with the whole conversation. I've had it. So what are we going to do about it? I'm sick of talking. They don't even deserve airtime.
No, like I said, this is about the most
Sorry.
most attention they're going to get from me is right here tonight.
I'm having a 2018 end of the year meltdown. I've had it with them.
For crying out loud! No, let's get it out of our system right now. Let them go. They're floundering and on their way out. And, let's not invest much more energy in that.
Let's not.
All right. That's a thing of the past. We tried hard. There's some good people out there.
I'm not a backslapper.
And I can't wait.
And I'm not going to stay Republican and become a stinking backslapper. Hey, how are you? And do nothing for, it's supposed to be we the people. You're supposed to be serving.
Yeah. Even when you win, you lose, It's
your
not
constituency.
About
okay?
It's a red flag or
Kevin.
A blue flag you got up over the your side or not. Because, our values are still being sold down the river.
They're being sold right straight down
carbon taxes.
The river.
Can you believe that?
The Connecticut River.
Big UN ass-kissing carbon tax right up the alley, boy. I bet you that Vince DeVito, that little snake in the grass, I bet he just loves that nonsense. Agenda 21's all over the place. Oh, man. I don't know. So the Prepper Tip Resource Library, don't underestimate that, man. These books are out there.
Start
readily
building
available. You're going to see a bunch of them probably coming on sale as Christmas is getting behind us. And,
hey, hit Amazon.com. It's another left-wing company, but,
use your algorithms against them. You know what I do? When I anticipate wanting something, I go in there ahead of time, and I've already done that on some books, is you go in and you snoop around, you actually click on them, and then you don't buy it. You go away, you surf around, and then later on you get into a period like right now at the end of the year where they want to get rid of their stock because many things, it's like a car. If you want to go buy a car, right now, literally tomorrow, go buy that car because you have got these car dealerships. As soon as it turns over to 2019, they got an excise tax due on every vehicle in their lot. You literally are the difference between thousands of dollars between the end of December and the beginning of January for a car dealership. And a lot of places are like that, too.
Makes sense.
They want to get rid of their surplus stock. So I'll go and I'll look at a book or I'll look at this, look at that, look at the other, and not buy it. And then this time rolls around and all of a sudden, I'll be on Facebook even because the New World Order, they got us all connected and our assholes all tied together from 8 different directions. So if I looked at something on some website, they'll eventually find out and pump it through Amazon to my Facebook, and it'll be 80% off. So, do that. Fish around, find those things you like, click on them, scroll around a little bit.
You can also hit the library, too.
Yeah. I'm just talking about things that you would purchase.
I know, but Jamie said Library is free. Copy a few pages.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah, if they're hard
Fletcher,
to find and
settle down.
it's material you can't get
Settle
anywhere,
down.
absolutely.
Settle down.
Maps, there's a lot of programs for mapping.
In a minute, okay,
you know,
boy?
It's like on your phone, your apps are great when your phone's up and working. So there's definitely resource material.
Yeah, you got to have your paper.
Diversify, protect it, and having it available because you just never know, and it's more important than many preppers will give credence to.
Don't get caught with your pants down, folks, okay?
Yep. New Year's message.
What's that?
I don't know. This is where we're flying by our pants. Here goes the notes. Yeah, it's been an exciting year. A lot has happened, and I thought maybe we just reflect a little bit on what is, the year that just went by.
It's been a real interesting year in the Kopacz family.
It's been an interesting year for a lot of people. We have huge change, political change.
Oh my God, huge! Yeah,
it's
yeah.
It's never been a dull moment.
I learned a lot about the rabbit hole, going down the rabbit hole. But we can't talk about everything because it just can't. I mean,
we can.
Well, eventually, yes, but not right now.
I just can't scare you only a little bit at a
Oh,
time.
come
right?
on. You haven't held back anything yet anymore, okay? I couldn't believe the stuff you showed me.
Yeah. Well,
James Yeager has educated me.
Mm-hmm.
Other documenters have educated. I can't believe the stuff that's going on. We have a rotten government. It's just rotten. Watch The Incredibles 2 animated movie. Watch that. There are so many subliminal messages in that.
There's little subtleties in there
Because
for sure.
that documentary, the documentary you showed me was the day before, and then my youngest daughter and I went to see The Incredibles 2, and I'm like this. Oh my God! Wow! He just showed me that documentary, and it's showing up in a cartoon.
Oh, the MK Ultra stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
it's all real.
Wow.
I mean,
it's
documents
just
supporting that too.
it's bad.
You know what we're going to talk
Really
about sometime, and
bad.
it was actually one of our listeners
Just Google
here
that.
that said, Dave, you got to go check out this 5G stuff they're rolling out.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you've been around as I started listening to some of that stuff.
I know.
I've got some familiarity with some of the terms and the things that are involved with that, but this is something you all should be paying attention to also. This 5G technology
Hey, Randy.
is coming out everywhere. The testing is already long since started. The health impacts to this are severe. The loss of privacy, the intrusion, the illegal surveillance aspect of this. There's almost no place, nowhere, no how you as an individual can find and enjoy privacy. If you think you're going to get away from it just from a health point of view, that there's a place for you to go to not be bombarded with these, we're talking about like millimeter and sub-millimeter frequencies. This is bad stuff. We're going to talk about that in one of the shows. We're going to get some experts on that to help out because,
Okay.
There's some of these. I can understand the concept and some of it. I got to watch more stuff. I really do want to know more precisely what I'm talking about. I've identified this as being a very legitimate concern. I want to make sure that we got the details and that follow-up direction. We always want people to go and research things on their own and follow up, and I'm going to want you to do that here, too.
Gives new meaning to the show, Stranger Things.
Yeah, warm yourself up to the topic. That's all I did. I think it was Dan from Connecticut. Check out this 5G stuff. And now I'm going down that rabbit hole, so you can do the same thing. Lots of information on YouTube. Many people have been researching this, going out with meters. When you look at a smart meter on the side of your house or a house, the vegetation, the vines and everything growing around it within so many feet are literally brown and dead.
Yeah, you told me that yesterday, and I go, "What? Really?"
Yeah, companies will come in and say, "Oh, this thing's really only operating for between 45 and 60 seconds a day. Oh, this is like radiation. You get from your cell phone and 60 seconds, and what they don't realize, it is not a low level continuous, thing for 45 to 60 seconds. It's a little fraction of a second burst that these things put out that's intense. So in duration of time, if it's going tick, tick, tick very intensely for a fraction of a second all day long, and accumulates 45 to 60 seconds.
Cumulative.
You can see how they window dressing and wrap that propaganda.
You mean lie?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
there you go.
They fooled you into thinking that it wasn't very long because it's only 45 seconds.
Man.
But to have this intense radio frequency bombarding
Let's not be
you.
sheeple any longer.
And they're putting them on our houses. They're
Take
putting
them
them on
off.
Apartments. You go to an apartment complex anywhere now.
There's a way to remove them legally.
Yeah, I posted that up on my wall, actually. There's kits you can buy, but it's not much to it to actually change the meter out. You just buy an analog meter, you unplug the old one, plug in the new one. You got to be careful, obviously, because you're dealing with high voltage. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. But it's not difficult to do. What is difficult is to do it, or more difficult, should I say, is not that you can't or it's impossible or anything of the kind. But powers that be don't want you to unplug. They want to be able to surveil you.
Oh, I'm shocked.
They like to think, and I'm beginning to wonder if that, because on our own house here, I discovered that there's 2 meters, one for each side, and one of them is a smart meter.
Why isn't it off yet?
There's a process to doing it. There's kits out there, and I shared that. Go back on the page, you'll find it, where they actually got all of the registered letters you got to send and tell them
cause
why.
Health problems.
Let them know that it's causing health problems, that you are removing any implied consent, that they are surveilling you illegally.
It's getting in the way of my pie baking and my cake and muffin baking.
You mean I better get moving in because I like your pies and cakes. So, yeah, lots of cool things we'll get to talk about. That was just one of them that was shared
Can
by
we get
one of
on
the
that,
listeners.
please?
Yeah, we already are.
Okay, and I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on that one.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know my buddy Mark called me earlier today from New Hampshire. I saw him pop in a room earlier. I don't know if he's still there. But yeah, we've had an exciting year. All right, we celebrated our first year of marriage. We learned a whole lot of new things about each other. A lot has changed in
my eyes. Can I cross them?
Both your home and here. Just a lot of change, and good for us, man, because there's so many things going on in this world for us to be distracted with, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there's still room for a couple of folks like us.
I don't care. We're still blessed.
Absolutely.
And it takes a while to become refined, beautiful silver. Beautiful, refined silver.
Yeah. But you know what?
All the imperfections, they're leaving.
We've got to, I think, appreciate those people in our lives. We got a lot of folks around, people that from your life and myself. We've got a lot of good folks around us. And
we sure do.
We got to, I think, take the time to smell the roses once in a while. Appreciate those friends that we have. Future is gonna be a bumpy ride out there, folks. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
We have to be there for one another. We have to have
really do
one another's backs.
Yeah.
Teamwork, okay? Like at my job, when you're on the same team, things go a lot smoother.
Yeah, any job, you got people that you get along with who do look out not only for themselves but their workmates, the companies that they actually work for. The whole environment's much more positive. That holds true in personal relationships and networks. But we got great people around us, and I'm certainly blessed for that.
We do. Absolutely. Sometimes we're not going to like people, but we still have to play. We have to be, I don't mean team players for, just in politics, because that just gets you nowhere. unless you want to join the Constitution Party, and that's different. That's a whole nother show. Okay, all right. I'm talking about loving one another like Jesus Christ commanded us to do.
Yeah, if we all live by the 10 Commandments, not lie, cheat, steal, commit adultery, things like that. The whole world would be in a much better place. It really would. But yeah,
Amen.
Let's every year is another opportunity. I'm not so much for making New Year's resolutions because it's too easy to disappoint yourself or others around you because you say, I'm going to do it on January 1st. And it don't always work out that way. But I do like to set goals, things that you want to do for the coming year.
A goal is a dream with a deadline.
Yeah, the coming year is a deadline, right?
That's right.
So, I'm going to try to adopt some things to help me personally with being able to organize and prioritize and make sure that all those things that are important in our life are able to get done.
That's
that
right.
We can communicate
Agreed.
out.
Hey, Lori.
Be
Hey,
inspired
Roger.
by others and inspire others ourselves. Build more closeness in those relationships. Good to see you, Roger. Welcome to the room. Lori, hello. Cousin Randy there. You get any deer? Last time I talked to Randy, I bugged him. He's on his way out deer hunting.
You know what?
What?
I want to go deer hunting.
Do you?
Yes.
Well,
I'll probably faint, but that's all right. I'm all in.
Will you field dress your own deer or what?
Eventually.
Yeah. We'll get you out there. We got to get you at the range, get you practicing up with the old shotgun.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Yep. Amen. I just want to do it, even if we don't get a deer.
Most of the fun is getting out there and tracking them around,
That's right.
learning their
Practice.
habitat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people that hunt
Shoot.
with they hunt with a video camera now. They make them so they screw right in the
Excuse me?
stabilizer on
What do you mean?
on your bow. People that shoot archery going hunting.
What?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Photographing, videotaping. the
Oh,
hunts.
sure. Oh, of course. Okay, now I get it.
Yeah, I started doing that myself. Actually, it's a lot of
Well,
fun.
that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Are we gonna kiss one another?
yeah, we are. And maybe even play a little patty cake later if you're
Ah, jeez.
lucky. Lucky girl. So, what's you must have some aspiration or well wish for the future. What's the grandest thing you like to see us do here in
You and I?
2019?
I would like us to build the Constitution Party and get it ratified.
Oh, we are ratified.
Oh, that's right.
We are
We are?
ratified.
What do you mean we're ratified?
That's what.
Oh, we got the go-ahead from the president.
From Texas, we went down.
Well, then we need
were
more.
approved unanimously.
Okay, that's right. All right. Oh my, was that easy?
Well, I got up there and I had to
Wait a
explain
second.
what it was we were doing.
I thought we were
And-
supposed to get thousands of signatures to get ratified.
No, you are confusing ballot access.
Oh,
We have got our work cut out for us.
he's
but,
the expert, okay,
but
not me.
take a look at what's happening. We got walk away with the Democrats here in Massachusetts. It was founded here in Massachusetts. So we got some walkaways from the left that'll never vote for a Republican, but many of them still have some respect for the Constitution. So I think we're going to be seeing them knocking at our doors.
You don't have
The
to be
Republicans themselves are in the middle of a full-blown meltdown.
Right, well, they have to change parties, David, so they got to jump ship and come.
What do you think the walkaway movement is?
Right.
They're walking away from the Democrats, and they're unenrolling.
I want to see it. I want to see ballot access then.
And the good news there is my roommate in Texas happened to be a professional consultant who travels the country helping candidates in the Constitution Party gain ballot access.
Really? Well, we have a free bed upstairs. He can stay here and help us.
He is
Right?
He has made himself available. I've got his
Let's have him
contact
over.
information, and we're going to set something up. I don't want to call him all the way out here just a hobnob.
No
and
kidding.
when he comes, I can guarantee we're going to be working hard. However, the goal, like you said, is a dream with a deadline. the goal is for ballot access.
That's right.
All right, so we're heading that direction. A lot of work though.
Oh,
We're gonna have to.
That's what I want to see.
We've got a lot of good people that are finally gonna do their walk away from the GOP itself. I'm hearing from them every week.
Amen.
This new,
I know you are.
New shake up here.
You're on the phone all the time.
Yeah, and that I'm glad to hear it. So that means something's happening. People are feeling a pinch. Something is going on. All right, so whatever that is, we're going to be in the way of it. We're not going to ignore the fact that there's people out there that still care and want change, and we're not going to ignore the fact that they've come to the realization that it's an exercise in insanity to expect that the party establishment gives a sweet shit.
An exercise in
and will do
futility.
anything. Yes. Insane, doing the same thing again, expecting a different result.
No more. I'm tired. No.
Punish them.
Left, gone. See ya.
Punish both parties. Punish them bad.
Yeah.
Walk away, give them the finger, say, you really have screwed this up quite bad. You're a thorough embarrassment. You own the shell that's left. And then come and be productive.
That's right.
I mean, you got to feel good when you get behind a team of people comes
Productive.
together. They get to know each other
Productive.
and actually develop friendships. And then all of a sudden, the celebration at the end is
support one
because
another.
we've elected another person onto their select
No
board.
backstabbing allowed.
Yeah, no, that type of crap, that's for the establishment to deal with. We got great policies and people in place to actually avoid that. When everyone understands the rules, understands how to conduct themselves in email, how to market and promote the party, how not to be in violation for whatever. There's very minor rules, although there's got to be rules. The Constitution Party membership, by and large, are very small government people. So copious layers and layers and layers of rules and policy and code and this and that is not what we're about. It's a light touch, really. We're trying to emulate what our original founders set out for their government. We're trying to govern ourselves as a Constitution party like that.
Can you put up the link?
No bigger than
Can
necessary.
you put up the link?
Yeah, it's constitutionparty.com and .org. Go check it out. The party platform, 7 principles are up there, 3 pillars. I always challenge people to go and take a look at that.
Yeah.
So I'll provide that link again.
I got some ideas about that too. But anyway.
Good. We all got to start sharing our ideas. And the more people in the room, this is what I loved about back in my years with the Republican Assembly, is our meetings got bigger and bigger. Some of them were very large. And we've gone till midnight sometimes. We just get going and on a roll. I love the new ideas that come out. Someone says something, someone else adds to it, and then when someone just adds something that you never thought of before, and it grows and grows and grows. Absolutely wonderful. And it's done with a light heart. With people that care about each other, they're passionate about their issue, and they can do it civilly. I've watched disagreements, minor disagreements happen, a little dialogue take place, and one's like, yeah, you're right. And they're moving along. No one's keeping score on good ideas and bad ideas. Lori Lazar's, how are you? Good to see you. She's down warm in Florida, I think. I think that's where you still are, right, Lori? I miss having you up here.
Hey, Frederick.
She and her brothers grew up right around the corner from you down there.
Really?
Yeah, right in old Belchertown.
Oh,
Yep.
cool. Cool.
Yeah, so let's get it together for the new year. Reach out and appreciate that network of friends that you got around you.
Hey, let's go out and have a coffee, ladies.
Yeah, there you go. How
about that?
Have a little girls get together. Sure,
Amen.
whatever it takes. Our families are experiencing, they're being divided and broken up, the whole family atmosphere. So anything that comes closer, that brings people closer, that's going to be among my goals for the new year, is to organize and prioritize those things that are important to me, important to us. And
take time, you and I, take time to smell the roses. We're going to the movies tomorrow.
Yeah. We're actually going out and
you're going to shut your cell phone off.
Shut my cell phone off and everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to forget all about it. I might just leave it home all day.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll take mine and just shut it off. How's that?
Yeah, whatever. We're gonna have fun at the
I'm telling
movies.
ya.
Think we're gonna see that new Clint Eastwood movie. Anyone seen that yet?
The Mule? The Mule.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's still in the theaters.
Is it?
If not, we'll find something, darling.
Yeah, there was someone said they saw that and said it was
Angelique, my youngest
one of his
daughter.
best movies.
Oh,
so
really? Who?
I don't know. It was online. Someone.
Cool. My
just
daughter saw it
went
as
by the
well.
news
My
feed.
youngest.
Yeah.
And we love Clint Eastwood, so.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
most of his movies. Yeah.
Well, he's conservative, and he gives the finger whenever he can to the establishment. You know, right?
He certainly does have some grit.
He's very gritty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we've blown through here. What is it? Almost 2 hours. You poor
Really?
people have been listening to us.
Wow.
I am so sorry.
No,
But-
no, don't be sorry, darling.
Yeah, it's, to summarize, GOP full meltdown. They've proven themselves to be quite an embarrassment, but they're back up on stage here temporarily to show everybody. For those of you that have had enough and are going to shed that monkey off your back and want to get her done, Constitution Party's the way to go. We'd really love to have you on board. Work your right into a team or a committee right up front. We're not like the GOP that's just sitting there. We are currently, as we speak, trying to line up teams for training and assistance and committees to get them going. So sign up, but expect also to be able to fold yourself right into doing something productive, something to promote that platform that we have. All right, and it's one of free speech. All right, our position on the Second Amendment, if I remember right, is pretty much a reiteration of the Second Amendment. No infringement, leave it alone. Everyone should own guns unless a jury of peers takes them away.
Right, so take that red pill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Take that red pill, folks. Once a week, you get a free dose right here.
Let's kiss 2018 by.
Fly your flags high. Keep your powder dry. Love each other out there. See you next week.
Patriots.